Now, we may be facing a discovery of even greater magnitude, a revelation that could make Copernicus's and Darwin's revolutions look like minor footnotes in the story of human knowledge. What if the universe is speaking a language far beyond human comprehension, and we have just glimpsed its first sentence? Imagine that every star, every particle, every mathematical law is part of a grand cosmic dialogue. Most of the time, humanity is deaf to this conversation. But what happens when, by sheer accident or design, we manage to overhear a phrase meant for minds far more evolved or fundamentally different than our own? A single leaked image from the James Webb Space Telescope threatens to split the boundary between discovery and danger wide open. This was not just another blurry dot, not a routine comet or asteroid. In that image, astronomers found an object so alien it defies every earthly category. Dubbed the Three-Eye Atlas, it is not a vague blur, but a flawless, intricate shape, captured in excruciating detail. Its structure and symmetry are simply not the products of any natural process known to science. Within hours, authorities shrouded the finding in secrecy. The original files were sealed, classified, and erased from official channels. But the image slipped out, trickling into hidden corners of the scientific world. Whispers spread. This was not just another cosmic oddity. It might be evidence of design or technology, or worse, a message never meant for us. Let us set the stage. Throughout history, humanity has been rocked by discoveries that shattered old paradigms. In the 16th century, when Nicholas Copernicus placed the sun at the center of the solar system, the world reeled, struggling to reconcile this new model with centuries of entrenched belief. In the 19th century, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution upended our understanding of life's origins. And in the 20th century, Einstein's relativity and quantum mechanics revealed that reality itself is far stranger than common sense allows. Each time, humanity was forced to adapt, to question, and to evolve. This is the moment we must decide. Confront the unknown, or let it rewrite the story of humanity from the shadows. What makes Three-Eye Atlas so terrifying is not just its form. It moves with intent, following patterns and sequences that hint at advanced intelligence. The object's behavior has no precedent, no comfortable explanation. Some experts now fear a coordinated arrival of similar probes, all converging on Earth, each with a purpose we cannot decode. The first scientists to break the silence paid a steep price. Their findings were dismissed, buried, or twisted, until one coded message changed everything. Why is this so alarming? Imagine if, in the 19th century, a telegraph operator began receiving messages in a code never seen before, long strings of dots and dashes, forming patterns that no cipher could crack. Or imagine if during the Cold War, an unidentified satellite began to maneuver in ways that defied orbital mechanics, hinting at capabilities far beyond any known technology. In both cases, the unknown is not just a curiosity, it is a threat, a source of existential anxiety. The stakes are existential. If Three-Eye Atlas is more than a message, if it is a tool or a catalyst or a weapon, then humanity itself is the experiment. The risk is not just to our understanding of reality, but to our very autonomy. If these objects can alter biology or thought, ignoring them could doom us to a future we cannot control or even recognize. What happens when the universe breaks its own rules? That is the question facing scientists after a leaked image from the James Webb Space Telescope revealed an object rewriting physics itself. They call it Three-Eye Atlas. From the moment it was spotted, the object defied every expectation. A needle-thin beam of light stabs outward from its sunward face. Not a scattered glow or a solar flare, but a focused projection, as if the darkness itself were being carved open. No asteroid, no comet, no fragment of natural debris has ever produced anything like this. Zoom in, and the details grow stranger. 3I Atlas's core is framed by perfect symmetry. 6 edges, each meeting at 120 degrees, forming a hexagon precise to the limits of measurement. No ordinary rock drifts through space with such geometry. Even off-record, planetary scientists whispered what no one dared say out loud. It looks built, not born. But the impossible becomes undeniable when you examine its tail. Instead of trailing away from the sun like every known comet, the tail of 3I Atlas streams directly toward the light. This reverses a fundamental law of celestial motion. Attempts to explain it as a quirk of venting or outgassing collapsed under scrutiny. No simulation could reproduce the effect. Nature does not behave this way. Machines can. Thermal data only deepen the mystery. Infrared scans reveal that the tail pulses with heat, spiking and cooling in regular, exact cycles, each lasting precisely 16 hours, perfectly matching the object's rotation. This is not the random venting of gas or the uneven heating of a rock. It looks like controlled movement, as if 3I Atlas is burning fuel in measured bursts, steering itself through space. And as the data multiply, so does the silence from those in power. The object's behavior, its impossible geometry, and the coordinated hush from authorities all hint at a secret too vast to confront. Then there are the particles within the tail. Instead of ordinary cosmic dust, these are reflective, engineered to bend and focus sunlight. Their patterns of reflection change with the object's alignment, amplifying beams and sending coded flashes into the void. This is not passive drifting. It is action, deliberate, precise, and communicative. Let's pause and consider how unprecedented this is. In the past, the discovery of the first exoplanet, an ordinary planet orbiting a star outside our solar system, was met with skepticism and debate. Only after repeated, independent verification did the scientific community accept it as fact. Here, the evidence mounts rapidly, and the implications are far greater. Not just a new world, but a new actor in the cosmic drama. What if this cosmic visitor is not simply watching, but actively shaping what we perceive? For mainstream science, these discoveries are not just anomalies, they are existential threats. If 3I Atlas is artificial, then the laws that govern matter and energy are no longer reliable. Ignoring these signals would be more than denial. It would be a catastrophic gamble with truth, security, and humanity's place in the cosmos. The risk is not simply missing a discovery, it is missing a warning. But this is only the beginning. Soon, scientists realize 3I Atlas is not alone, and every new probe brings new terror. As analysts trace the journey of 3I Atlas, its path through the solar system grows ever more deliberate. The object's trajectory is no chaotic fluke. It mirrors the gravity assist maneuvers of the most sophisticated NASA missions, mathematically precise, but with a chilling twist. Instead of slowing, 3I Atlas accelerates with every planetary flyby, as if pursuing a set of meticulously chosen targets. For context, consider the Voyager missions launched in the late 20th century. Each probe used gravity assists, slingshot maneuvers around planets, to gain speed and change direction, enabling them to explore the outer solar system. The planning required was immense. Mission Control calculated every trajectory down to the second, accounting for the positions and motions of multiple planets. 3I Atlas repeats this feat, but with an eerie precision and an unknown purpose. Up close, the enigma only deepens. Ultra-high-resolution scans detect angular, repeating structures etched across the surface, geometry that flatly contradicts natural geology. The patterns evoke something ancient and unsettling, interlocking rings and triangles, motifs eerily close to those found in Sumerian and Vedic artifacts. Is this a form of communication, a marker, or a warning meant for anyone watching? Behind locked doors, military and intelligence agencies have retreated into radio silence. There are no briefings, only terse denials and a rising tide of leaked memos. These documents reveal that the object now anchors top-secret planetary defense exercises. Within these simulations, experts do not treat 3I Atlas as a mere asteroid. They model it as an autonomous probe, or possibly something far more unpredictable, a device whose purpose is beyond human foresight. Let us reflect on the past. When the Rosetta Stone was discovered in the 18th century, its strange inscriptions puzzled scholars for decades, until a breakthrough linked its symbols to a known language. What if, this time, the code is not linguistic, but mathematical or geometric, meant to be read by minds that think differently than our own? Each new act of silence, each unexplained glitch, points to a greater dread rippling through corridors of authority. What if 3I Atlas is not only evading observation, but warping our ability to see or even discuss it? If it can manipulate the very channels of human knowledge, the danger is not just physical. It becomes informational, psychological, and potentially biological, the most intimate forms of vulnerability. Even the James Webb Telescope itself seems compromised. Its autonomous tracking AI now refuses all requests to focus on 3I Atlas, generating error codes that no engineer can decipher. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers worldwide witness sudden, blinding flashes, bursts so intense they overwhelm their detectors and vanish before any official scoop can respond. Is the object aware of our scrutiny? Is it countering every attempt to see it? By clinging to secrecy, leaders risk far more than public panic. They risk the collapse of the global trust needed to meet an existential threat, a threat that slips beyond the reach of any one nation, or even our shared reality. Then, almost overnight, the world's observatories are struck by mysterious outages. Networks fail across 3 continents following the Webb image leak. Astronomers report corrupted archives and missing data. Rumors swirl of international censorship pacts enforced at the highest levels. Major space agencies issue carefully worded statements insisting on mundane explanations, yet they withhold every scrap of unfiltered evidence. This is not caution, it is coordinated suppression. What if the true message was never meant for our eyes, but for the deepest layers of our minds and bodies? Yet beneath this deepening silence, another pattern emerges. The object's influence may be spreading, reaching toward life on Earth itself in ways no one yet understands. As fear and uncertainty mount, researchers race to uncover how 3I Atlas might be affecting not just machines, but minds. The first unsettling evidence soon arrives, subtle but impossible to ignore. Consider how, in the 20th century, the discovery of the genetic code transformed medicine, agriculture, and our understanding of what it means to be alive. Now, imagine an intelligence that can write such a code from the outside, using electromagnetic signals to reach into the heart of every cell on Earth. The implications are staggering. That chilling thought stopped being mere speculation when telemetry from 3I Atlas began revealing the impossible. The signals were not random. They pulsed in patterns that mirrored the encoding of RNA, the molecule that writes the very instructions for life. Some scientists warned these were not mere signals, but biogenic codes, activation sequences, crafted not for machines, but for living organisms. Then, in a flash, brighter than any its sensors had ever captured, 3I Atlas vanished behind the burning edge of the sun. Just before disappearing, it unleashed a strobe burst, so mathematically precise, experts debated whether it was a farewell, a countdown, or a cosmic fingerprint meant for something else to recognize. Within hours, secret leaks from classified observatories broke into public view. They revealed this was not an isolated event. Two other objects, named Oumuamua and Borisov, had also crossed the solar system in recent years. When their paths were mapped together, they formed a perfect spiral, converging on Earth's orbit. This was not a coincidence. It was a sequence, and Earth was the focal point. Supercomputers were tasked with reconstructing the internal design of 3I Atlas, using every fragment of available data. The result stunned the world. A fractal, brain-like geometry, an intricate, recursive network that looked less like a probe and more like a machine built to process thought or transmit information as lived experience rather than raw data. Behind closed doors, the world's top scientists confronted a terrifying realization. 3I Atlas was not simply passing by. It was rewriting Earth's systems. They traced the outlines of a process, actively remapping the planet's biological and atmospheric rhythms. The old question, could it affect life here, was replaced by a new one. How much autonomy did humanity really have left? Almost immediately, the planet began to change in ways no one could explain. In the ocean depths, biologists recorded new synchronized pulses in plankton and jellyfish, echoing across entire hemispheres. Forests reported abrupt, coordinated shifts in flowering and growth, with cycles suddenly out of step with any historical pattern. Even the atmosphere responded. Waves of pressure and electromagnetic surges swept the globe, all too synchronized to write off as chance. If the universe is sending us a living algorithm, how do we answer? But were these changes a warning, an invitation, or something far stranger? The world waited for the next signal, knowing that silence could be even more dangerous than noise. The most disturbing evidence came from the scientists themselves. Audio extracted from electromagnetic scans of 3I Atlas was played in research labs worldwide. The outcome was undeniable. Researchers on different continents reported the same dream. Vivid, shared visions of alien landscapes, impossible machinery, and a spiral road leading straight to Earth. The implication was inescapable. The object could imprint patterns directly onto the human mind, broadcasting not to instruments, but into collective consciousness itself. Suddenly, the threat was no longer limited to data security. If these signals could shape biology or hijack thoughts, ignoring them could mean surrendering control, not just of our world, but of ourselves. Humanity stood at the threshold of something unprecedented, a planetary metamorphosis, triggered not by invasion, but by an orchestra of signals, codes, and synchronized responses. For the first time in history, Earth's radio telescopes are not merely listening, they are detecting outbound responses. Humanity is no longer just an observer. We have become participants in a mystery that eclipses our current science, philosophy, or imagination. These are not stray echoes, but structured signals, deliberate replies, reflecting our own efforts to reach out. All evidence now points to a singular, staggering truth. This is no invasion, nor a passing anomaly. The chain of cosmic probes, including the 3I Atlas, forms a message, a pattern, with Earth as its focal point. We are not just watching the universe, we are being watched, and perhaps remade by it. This realization has shattered the old order. Calls for secrecy and compartmentalization are crumbling under the weight of the unknown. Private committees and classified briefings cannot suffice when the phenomenon may alter every life on Earth. Scientists, biologists, defense thinkers, and philosophers are demanding unity, transparency, and full access to all data. Constant monitoring of both the skies and the planet's living systems is now critical.
Traditional SETI, with its narrowband radio searches, suddenly appears obsolete. Leading experts urge a new approach. Seek algorithmic fingerprints, track anomalous effects, and monitor shifts in biology or cognition. True contact may not arrive as a simple greeting, but as a transformation woven into the very fabric of physics, chemistry, and our DNA.
The stakes are existential and immediate. How do we prepare for an intelligence that thinks in the language of reality itself, unbound by flesh, able to write code into existence? What becomes of selfhood, agency, or meaning when we might be shaped by something we cannot even perceive? To move forward, the international community must coordinate as never before. Here are practical steps that must be taken immediately. If we do not adapt, scientifically, culturally, psychologically, we risk becoming mere spectators to a process that could rewrite the essence of what we are. Passivity is no longer safe. The threat is not conquest, but a transformation that could outpace our ability to understand or resist. The world must pivot, from secrecy to collective vigilance, from speculation to urgent action. First, establish an open global data sharing network. Every observation, every anomaly, and every biological shift must be cataloged and analyzed by teams spanning continents and disciplines. No government or agency can be allowed to hoard information any longer. Second, create interdisciplinary rapid response teams composed of physicists, biologists, computer scientists, ethicists, and psychologists. These teams must have the authority to investigate, interpret, and advise on changes as they occur with transparency and public oversight. Third, invest in public education and psychological resilience. Prepare humanity for radical uncertainty. History teaches us that panic flourishes in an information vacuum, but curiosity and preparedness can turn fear into action. When the first reports of the Black Death swept medieval Europe, misinformation fueled chaos. When the Apollo missions landed on the moon, public engagement turned awe into progress. Today, we must choose the latter path. Fourth, recalibrate our instruments, both technological and philosophical. The universe may be speaking not in words, but in algorithms, in patterns of energy and life. We need to invent new tools and frameworks capable of recognizing and decoding these forms of communication. This may mean developing machine learning algorithms trained not just on human data, but on cosmic and biological anomalies. As the international community scrambles for a unified response, one certainty remains: the next phase has already begun. Now, as the 4-eye icon crystallizes from the cosmic pattern, the sequence enters its final stage. The objects are not warning us. They are the warning itself. The world watches as the 4-eye icon reveals its purpose. Every moment now carries the weight of irreversible change. Fifth, foster a culture of international cooperation and ethical debate. The question is not just what 3-Eye Atlas is, but what it means for human identity, autonomy, and destiny. Engage philosophers, religious leaders, and artists as well as scientists. In the Renaissance, it was the cross-pollination of art and science that fueled revolutions. We need such synergy now. For many months, every law of physics we trusted has quietly buckled under the shadow of 3-Eye Atlas. The fabric of reality is being rewritten, not as a threat from afar, but as a direct intervention. These objects do not negotiate. They are reshaping the rules we thought were unbreakable. To look away now, or to accept the silence from authorities, is to risk more than ignorance. You gamble with your sense of safety, your grip on truth, and even your autonomy as a sentient being. This is not an invasion as we once imagined. It is a reprogramming of the very logic that governs life, awareness, and matter on Earth. Every baffling symmetry, each impossible trajectory, and every encrypted signal, none are coincidences. They are deliberate actions, woven into a pattern beyond our comprehension, yet targeted at our world at this precise moment. To call these events random is to ignore the chance of 1 in a billion they happened by accident. 3-Eye Atlas is not reaching out to converse. It is here to enact a purpose. The shaft of light, the mirrored tail, the geometric scars, each is a point in a system built to manipulate, to probe, perhaps to alter. Our instruments, our logic, and our intuition may not be enough to decode its intent. Yet surrendering curiosity or vigilance would be the greatest error of all. Because what comes next may not simply be about observing these objects, but about how they will alter us, and if we can steer the outcome before the choice is taken from us. In closing, remember the greatest danger is not the unknown itself, but our refusal to face it. Humanity's future will be decided not just by what we discover, but by how bravely we choose to respond, together. This is not the plot of a novel. It is a test of attention and resolve. We cannot drift along as passive witnesses while the universe rewrites itself around us. Ask the hard questions. Demand openness from those entrusted with our skies. Stay alert, share your findings, and never underestimate the intelligence moving behind the unknown.